Good morning. How are you? Sunday in Virginia, beautiful, warm. Warmth has returned. Not chilly today, that's for sure. I found something pretty interesting over the weekend. You probably read about it by now. And that is that the acting AG, Jeff Rosen, spoke not at a regular committee meeting, but he was interviewed by the Senate Judiciary Committee, not the House Select Committee. You got to scratch your heads and say, why are they doing this behind closed doors? What he had to say, if you remember, is that Trump called him in late December 2020 and asked him to tell the nation basically that there was corruption in the election. And then he said he and members of Congress would take care of the rest. Now, if that wasn't a setup for the coup that happened on January the 6th, then what was? And he remained mute to the public, didn't warn us at all. Apparently didn't warn anybody. And this is followed by a letter by acting assistant AG Clark, who apparently bought the Kool-Aid and was writing a letter pitching to Georgia, its legislature, that they should, re-examine their entire election. And within days of that, late December, early January, we have Trump leaning on the Secretary of State for Georgia to give him enough votes by one vote to be the person who won Georgia. Now, why all of this isn't proof of inciting to riot, traitorism, sedition, you name it. But nobody does anything. And why is this before the Senate? The Senate, did they want to control the dialogue? Did they want to have the power on their side? We have a committee in the House that's looking at this and doesn't have any objectionable Republicans on the committee. It should go there. It should be there. It should be before a grand jury. And a surprising development, a lot of the right-wing people are citing Ginsburg as the reason that Roe v. Wade should be overturned. Well, first of all, Ginsburg never said it should be overturned. Secondly, she wrote an article and then she testified about it a little bit on the Hill, saying basically the legal rationale should be equal protection. Now, far be it from me to disagree with Associate Justice Ginsburg, but I think that Douglas and the Supreme Court got it right when they said that what was at stake was the right of privacy, the right of a person to be let alone. And therefore it was the penumbra, like that thing around the moon at night. It's like they shine around the amendments. Fourth Amendment, I can't invade the protection of your home, your person, and so forth. Fifth Amendment, I can't do this without due process. So I think I think equal protection is a very narrow way to look at it because a lot of things fall out. In any case, that's how they're abusing the memory of Justice Ginsburg. On the Hill, as I speak, I guess at noon today, so not yet. But at noon today, the Senate's going to go back in session, and they're going to talk about infrastructure, and the argument is getting stronger among the Republicans that they're split on whether or not cryptocurrency should be touched or not. And that's how they're going to pay for it. And another senator wants to hold it up. There are 22 amendments remaining. And he wants to hold it up because I think the number is $256 billion would be added to the deficit in violation of various provisions on the Hill. I think that Speaker Pelosi got out of town because she figures this is going nowhere without saying it. And if it does, she'll bring people back. I decided to look up Manchin again to see if my information and my opinion about him was still true. And that is to say, how does he stand on breaking the cloture vote, on going to a majority vote instead of, a super majority, 60. And the answer is, he said that he could support it in the case of the infrastructure bill, but he'd have to look at the amount of money that was involved. Now, that's kind of psycho language that's my exit strategy so that it doesn't appear that I'm not with the Democrats. It's just the amount of money being spent. And there are some of the Democrats who are troubled by the $3.2 trillion bill. But let me say, I have watched Manchin at some conferences I've gone to involving clean air and clean water. And he, at these conferences, what he does is he says, of course I'm for clean air, but what about how much it costs to have the clean air? Of course I'm for clean air and water, but how much is it going to cost? Am I going to support that or not? So this is just a variation on an old trick of his. That is to say that, yeah, he is for voting, a budget bill that would include these additional reforms in infrastructure, but not if it costs too much. Anyhow, we'll get to find out in the days ahead what they're really going to do. I'm a little concerned that they'll run out of town right after they pass, if they do, the $1 trillion joint bill. So that's where that is. As for the virus, we have to stop talking like we're in this with the Republicans. We are not. They don't talk in this fuzzy language we do, and that's why they're getting people to believe maybe there's something to what they say. And on the virus, I think one of the things that we have to be careful about is the notion that they're on our side. They've chosen this as an issue for some crazy reason, and people are suffering because of it. So that's my Sunday. I'll do the podcast later today. Look forward to talking to you then. And in the meantime, here we are in the Cathedral of Trees talking about the kinds of crazy things that happen in Washington, D.C. and around the world. Bye-bye.